Check out our merch store, guys. We have our own MX jerseys, winter wear, headwear, tons of different t-shirts, Pit Viper shades, and a variety of accessories. Check it out and get yourself something now.
Alright friends, what's up and welcome back to the video. So as you can judge by the intro sequence, we finally got the opportunity to go out and test some of the 2024 KTM models. We actually did it about 2 months ago. Rad KTM hosted a demo day at Titans Enduro Track. Super thankful to them for putting on the demo day and allowing us to come out and test the bikes. Just a quick disclaimer, my relationship with Rad KTM, non-existent. I saw the demo day on Facebook. I called them up, registered a spot for myself and Zane, and we went out and tested the bike. So I have zero obligation to prop up the products for them. But yeah, unless you've been living under a rock, you already know that the 2024 models are pretty amazing. For those of you who maybe do not know, before we jump into the riding footage and my opinions on the bikes, we'll quickly run through some of the changes and updates that they made to the models. Now, this isn't going to be an in-depth technical video on the changes that they've made. There are some of those out there, so go ahead and search for those if that's what you're looking for. This is just going to be a overview of the changes and my opinion on the models that I tested out specifically. Not an opinion that necessarily means much, coming from a guy who just likes to make internet videos for fun, but here we go anyways. The most radical enduro update yet. Ooh. These changes have come directly from the learnings at the highest level of enduro competition, with racer input being at the forefront. And if you guys are wondering what I'm reading from, this is literally a kind of shortened version of the KTM press kit. So here we go. Chassis. New frame features. Improved rigidity provides exceptional rider feedback, energy absorption and stability. Repositioning of rotating masses in the frame and forged steering head connection. So trick new triple clamps and the motors are positioned differently in the frame. Optimized frame wall thickness for specific rigidity and improved reliability in high stress areas. New shock mounts, specifically improving anti-squat behavior. New parallel frame mounts for improved flex characteristics on two-stroke models. Footrest mounts are moved inwards for less risk of hooking in deep ruts. Forged one-piece side stand gives the Enduro KTM range the ultimate parking stability. That's a serious upgrade. If you ride a KTM and you haven't broken a side stand yet, well, you're extremely lucky, but they vastly improved the side stand, which is a weird flex, but a big one. As a result of the new frame geometry, the footrest mounts have moved inwards, making for an overall slimmer profile. The overall size of the footrests have increased for dramatically improved comfort and control when standing on the pegs. A polyamide, not sure on the pronunciation, reinforced aluminium subframe. So it's a composite subframe weighing in at only 1.8 kilograms or 4 pounds. The new two-piece polymer reinforced aluminium subframe provides some weight savings. This design has also made the subframe remarkably robust, time will tell, with the subframe more likely to flex and bend back into shape in the event of an accident. I don't know. From the older composite subframes, they usually just break, but we'll see. Time will tell. Swing arm. A new hollow die-cast swing arm is designed to offer optimal stiffness and reliability at the lowest possible weight. An improved casting produces, oh my word, an improved casting reduces weight by approximately 190 grams. A 22mm rear axle has also been fitted to match the new flex characteristics of the chassis. So also another issue in some of the late models is the swing arm breaking in half. So now they lightened it even more, so hopefully it doesn't cause similar issues. Triple clamps and handlebars. Race-proven high-grade forged triple clamps feature a more forgiving high-flex steering stem, which brings more shock absorption and flex to the rider. Neck and aluminium bars featuring the same proprietary KTM bend as found on the latest SX models. Suspension. This is a pretty big one as well. A big thing that people have been raving about. The WP Exact closed cartridge front forks. All new 48mm WP Exact closed cartridge fork spring forks, no more air, finds its way into the 2024 KTM Enduro lineup with a new mid-valve piston concept. This optimizes oil flow within the cartridge for fast and consistent dampening characteristics. A new hydro stop in the last 68mm of the stroke also helps keep the maximum compression in reserve when tackling extreme obstacles like deep drop-offs or jumps. So a little bit more hold up in the suspension in the bottom of the stroke. Overall, the fork length has increased from 928 to 940 millimeters, while the stroke has increased from 292 to 300 millimeters. So a little bit longer stroke and longer fork length as well. The new fork also has easy adjustability, with rebound and compression being adjusted via hand adjustable clickers on the bottom of the fork leg and on the top of the fork cap. Adjustable WP Explore PDS rear shock. That's a mouthful. The Progressive Dampening System, PDS, if you ever wondered what that stands for, I assume, remains an exclusive signature element for KTM and sees an all-new design of the WP Explore PDS shock. More compact, with an overall length decreased to 402.7 millimeters compared to the 415 millimeters in the previous generation. The stroke has decreased from 105 to 102.7 millimeters, with a 390 or 380 gram weight reduction. So the forks are longer, the shock is shorter, everything's lighter. It also features a new main piston designed to optimize oil flow and more consistent dampening characteristics. The WP Explore PDS rear shock now also comes with adjustable hand clickers, allowing riders to change settings on the fly without the need for any tools, which is very cool. Makes it handy. Not that most people ever touch their suspension, but for someone like me that always wants to tinker, very nice. Bodywork. The 2024 range has undergone a complete refresh to improve the rider triangle for better knee contact, especially when standing on the pegs. This, along with added contact surfaces on all the bodywork, improves overall handling, agility, and rider confidence. A new seat profile with a new high grip seat cover provides riders with exceptional control in all weather conditions, while a recessed grip pocket. This is like one of my favorite things. under the seat, just above the airbox, allows for a more secure grip when lifting the bike off the paddock stands or in extreme riding terrain. No more need for silly grab straps that look like shit on your bike. You just stick your hand in. I'm sure they had to have stolen this like from the freestyle motocross guys, because it's right underneath the seat above the airbox. You can literally slot your hand right through the bike, pick it up. Amazing. Fuel tank, a new 8.5 litre for the 4 strokes and a 9 litre tank for the 2 strokes. Airbox, the airbox has been revised to optimize airflow and mitigate the risk of drowning the bike when crossing rivers or riding in wet conditions. Retrofitting of kickstarters is no longer possible, so if your battery dies, you're pretty stuck. The new bikes feature a rollover sensor, which has been carried over from the KTM motocross range and shuts the engine off in the event of an extreme crash. So if you're going to be one of those guys that constantly loop out their bikes on hill climbs, your bike will switch itself off. It has a newly developed optional map switch, which finds its way onto the 2024 XCW and XCFW range, as is designed for quick, easy operation. Irrelevant in my opinion. Just put it on full power and whatever, send it. Now diving into the 2 strokes. The 2024 KTM 2-stroke XCW range consists of the entry-level 150, 250 and the popular 300 XCW. Throttle body injection, that's the talk of the town. Changing over from TPI, the transfer port injection, to throttle body injection. The 2024 2-stroke models feature an all-new electronically controlled throttle body injection system, together with Keihin, however you want to pronounce it. A 39mm throttle body was developed, combined with a specifically tuned ECU from Vitseco. It works to always deliver the correct air-fuel mixture by constantly analyzing water temperature, air temperature, and ambient temperature, and your throttle position. Very cool. It's much more like a ECU on a 4-stroke vehicle. Reed valve. The reed valve case have received updates with new plastic flaps on the outside of the reed valve case for better sealing of the entire intake tract. This negates overfueling in extreme up or downhill sections with no bogging down or running rich, which is cool. That's the whole point of having an injection system on your bike. You don't need to worry about it running rich or lean like with car bikes. Now, this is also pretty cool. The electronic power valve. This bike also has an electronic power valve, but very rudimentary. With the new EFI, the power valve is controlled according to the throttle position and the engine and the engine's RPMs. Being auto-calibrating, the EMS calculates the ideal power valve position automatically. So it's not like this bike where it is set to 6,000 RPMs and then it actuates the power valve open. This senses, okay, this guy's on the bottom of the hill is winding the throttle open. Let's close the power valve so the bike can rev up a bit quicker. So it's constantly changing. It's not set to one condition. Exhaust. The 2024 range benefits from a more compact exhaust header design, achieving improved ground clearance and reducing the risk of any damage from deep ruts or external objects. 2-stroke pipes, they are like consumables. You're gonna smash them up unless you put a cage on your bike. That's just the way it is. But having the pipe a little bit higher up and a little bit tighter to the frame does help quite a bit. All right, lastly, changes to the 4-strokes. The 2024 4-stroke Enduro range lines up with the 250 EXCF, 350 EXCF, 450 EXCF, and the 500 EXCF. Across the 4-stroke Enduro range, weight savings and mass centralization on the top of the brief sheet. Engineers positioned the engine closer to the center of gravity for greatly improved handling and maneuverability. This was achieved by tilting the engine's 2 degrees backwards and repositioning the front sprocket over 3 millimeters lower. Together with the benefits of mass centralization and reduced weight, the anti-squat behavior of the chassis was significantly improved, as mentioned earlier with the suspension changes as well. Another main focus point for the 2024 4-stroke Enduro range is serviceability. Draining noses for liquids and adding service markers on the engine to clearly show where to use washers, marking maintenance and service, making maintenance and service easier and more accessible for different level riders. Added lock positions for the cam chain also improves the serviceability of the valve train. So that's pretty cool. They decided to make their 4-strokes easier to work on for the average Joe, which is cool because it's not all pro teams. It's mostly weekend warriors, you know. Exhaust designed to deliver leading performance at the lowest possible weight. The header pipe is designed and manufactured in 2 pieces to be as compact as possible. Routing of the header pipe is extremely close to the engine for maximum mass centralization and minimal exposure to rocks and tree stumps. So now that we glanced over all the revisions made to the 2024 bikes, let's jump into the riding footage. I decided to post the point of view footage in order of the bikes that were my favorites. So from the most favorite bike to the least favorite bike I rode on the day, and taking note that I only had time to ride 3 bikes. It was a public demo day, and we did not want to be stingy and hog all the bikes for ourselves for the sake of making a video. There were plenty people wanting to take a ride, so where it was possible we squeezed in 2 laps on the bikes. So essentially, yeah, we pretty much had 2 laps on each bike, 1 sighting and 1 to go fast. It was very misty in the morning, so as you'll see later in the video footage for the 300 XCW did not turn out the best because you could barely see anything. It was so misty, but we got great footage for the 350 and the 150. And mentioning the 150, surprisingly, that was my absolute favorite bike. So check out the point of view footage and we'll have a talk about it in a minute. So why is the 150 my favorite bike? Now, thinking back to all of the changes and revisions that they have made to the 2024 models, the flex characteristics of the frame, the new suspension with the anti-squat capabilities, the larger foot pegs that have been moved inwards, the narrower frame, coupled with the lightweight and the exceptional, and like I say, exceptional power delivery, but I don't think there's words to explain how well this KTM 150 runs. With the TBI technology and the electronic power valve technology, I've never ridden a small capacity dirt bike that has that much power, and it has power pretty much everywhere. And I've gotten used to riding smaller capacity dirt bikes versus the bigger 250s and 300s. Like my main bike for the last 2 years has been a 224cc bike. So the KTM 150 makes you feel like an absolute hero. You can feel all the improvements that they made to the bikes. The narrow frame, it feels so nimble, and coupled with the lightweight and low rotational mass inside of the 150's motor, that thing stops on a dime, it turns on a dime, and as I mentioned, because it is so light, that thing absolutely hauls ass. So if you are, I would say, a little bit more capable of a rider, you know, if you're not scared to wind out a bike, because it's a 150, you're gonna have to wind it out to get into the power still. This bike will make you feel like an absolute hero. You can do anything on this bike. I would even consider using it as a main hard enduro bike. Obviously you will suffer in like the longer technical climbs, but the bike is so light you can just push it up anything. So if I had to put my money on the line, hypothetically speaking, if I could afford any of these bikes, and that's the only drawback I have with any of them really, is the cost. That's just is what it is. Yeah, but hypothetically, I would get the KTM 150. That was my absolute favorite to ride, and yeah, very enjoyable experience. Great bike that can progress a lot of people's riding. And now moving on to my number 2, that was the KTM 350 EXCF, the 4-stroke. Let's dive into the point of view footage.
Okay, 350 and 250, 4 strokes.
350 EXCF. What an amazing machine. You know, everyone's known for a long time that the 350 is an amazing platform. The last time I rode a 350 was like a 2016 or 2017 model, and I wasn't blown away by the performance and the handling, like compared to, you know, what everyone was saying. This is the older generations, but this 2024 model, once again, with all the new suspension, the new frame, the new foot peg positions, you know, all of that stuff combined with the mass centralization, moving the motor back a couple of degrees, all the changes that they made, it also makes this bike handle exceptionally well. Just jumping straight off the 150 onto the 350, I felt extremely comfortable to go very fast right off the bat, not even being acclimated to the bike, because all of the chassis are so similar and so similarly tuned. It feels like you're just jumping on the same bike. It just suddenly has a little bit different power characteristics. Now obviously with the 4-stroke there's a bit more rotational mass in the motor, so it does not turn as directly as the 2-strokes, especially the 150, but it's really nitpicking. You can't actually really notice it too much, and you know, you can just put it in 3rd or 4th gear, and on a twisty single track like we had to ride, you can just wind that thing out. And fortunately we went out with a little bit quicker instructor on that lap, and I really enjoyed you know, kind of riding him and trying to push him. And obviously he is probably on a little bit higher level than what I am, but yeah, if a bike gives you the confidence to push and to push the rider in front of you, it's always a very enjoyable experience. So I have nothing bad to say about the 350. I think it just narrowly loses out to the 150 in my mind, because you don't really have the hard enduro capabilities with the 4-strokes compared to the 2-strokes. Yes, you can do it. I mean, there's Paul Torres, he does it on a adventure bike, but for extreme terrain, the 2-strokes still reign supreme, and that's why the 150 just notches out the 350 ever so slightly. But super fast machine. I think if I ever had the opportunity to get seriously into cross-country racing, that would be a strong contender for the bike that I would want to have in my arsenal. They are exceptional tools, and there's a reason why KTM is the best in the industry. Now, lastly, my least favorite of the day, and it's kind of strange why, but we'll talk about it after the point of view footage, and that is the KTM 300 XCW. Alright, so as you guys could see by the point of view footage that it was a pretty misty lap. That was actually the first lap that I spun around the track, and obviously being the first session out, the instructor was going quite slowly because it's slow visibility and he wanted to make sure that we learned the track properly. So very kind of boring lap, I would say. Was boring for me and probably pretty boring for you guys to watch. But I did go out for a second lap, a faster lap, where the instructor was not in front of me. But I was so focused on riding because I hadn't fully learned the track yet. I completely neglected to wipe clean my GoPro, so there was like zero visibility on the GoPro throughout the whole lap, so that footage was useless. Anyways, why is the 300 XCW my least favorite? Now, same as all the other bikes, and I'm sure if you jump and you know, from the guys that I spoke with at the track, it seemed to be the consensus that, you know, all of the bikes, the chassis fuel and everything is pretty similar, regardless of what you get on, whether it's the 150 or the 500 or the 300 two-stroke. But the reason why the 300 XCW was my least favorite is just because it's just not that exciting to me. It's not a slow dirt bike, definitely not. And obviously in extreme or technical terrain, that'll be top dog. And I think that's exactly why it's kind of boring on like a single track type of environment. The torque curve and the power curve is just too linear. And I think having ridden a lot of different dirt bikes in my life, I've become kind of numb to the whole 300 hype. Yes, it is great in technical terrain. Do you really need a 300? If you're not a, you know, tier 1 professional rider, I don't think so. I think the 300s are a bit overrated. It is obviously a very good tool, but I don't know. It's difficult to, you know, convey what I felt in the moment, being that it was 2 months ago from filming this portion. It just feels kind of sterile. Still handles great, suspension, brakes, everything feels great. It just feels a bit sterile. Where, you know, the 150 is very explosive and you can pop it over stuff. The 300 is just like, nah, I'm a 300. I think it was predictable. Over the years, you know, running the 300 in high levels of competition and the development that KTM have done, it's like people know what to expect from the 300. So going from a what was the last 300 that I rode? A 2020 Erzberg edition. Obviously there's improvements in the 2024 in terms of power delivery and so on, but it's not substantial where you can feel like, oh wow, this is like a different dirt bike, apart from the frame. Now, so my ramblings don't really make sense. Like I said, this is just a personal opinion video. I would definitely love the opportunity to take a 300 into more technical terrain. I'm sure that would change a lot of my opinions, and you know, after like a technical extreme enduro ride, I would probably sing a whole different song. But yeah, that's my opinions. The wheels kind of fell off here at the end, but yeah, that is where we are at the end of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the riding content and my opinions and the specs at the beginning. If you have a 2024 and you wanted and you want to come test it out at our track, you're welcome to contact us on bronx.co.za, our website. And speaking of the website, we have tons of merchandise available if you want to support our business. We make our own riding gear. We are pretty much finished with the production version of our own riding pants. We're just doing some work to tidy everything up online, and then those products will start going live. We've got caps, t-shirts, winter wear, you name it, we can get it for you. We also do custom branding stuff, so if you want custom branded anything from gazebos, cups, corporate gifts, we do all that stuff as well. So please go ahead and check out the website. We are also starting to offer rider training and guided outrides at our property in Bronkhorstspruit. So if you guys want to join us on a ride, book a ride, we'll go out and have a good day. Anyways, what else? Got some cool videos coming up for the KDX 250. We're busy gutting the exhaust, so if you're interested to see how I make my crusty 1994 KDX 250 run a bit better and a bit faster, hit the subscribe button, check out the other videos, and yeah, as I said, I appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate you guys subscribing.